Welcome everyone, this is Gwydion, and today is going to be session 1 of my playthrough of Choir of Flesh. This is the first time I'm playing through Choir of Flesh, so this won't be a tutorial, this will be me learning the game. I might pause on occasion, so if you see a little bit of a glitch and it looks like I jumped ahead in time for a minute, that might be that I just hit pause so I didn't waste too much time searching around for the uh, the right rule or what have you. But I'll try to just keep play rolling and won't worry hopefully too much about the rules. And if I do, I'll pause it. So I'm going to be using my free Sojourn module that I'll put a link into, but I won't go into that too much. I have other videos on that. And I'm also playing music with Fantasy Plus, and that's the Dark Choir mix. So I'm just going to have that going on in the background. I thought that'd be appropriate music. It might be really low, but I think it gets a little bit louder, so I'll try to keep an eye on it. So let's just jump in. So my character, his name is Thomas Aquinas, and his sin that defines him is he's prideful. He refuses to kneel. Arrogance is his shield, which is appropriate given he's more of a dexterous character and he uses a longbow and doesn't have a shield. His shard of the old world is a key to a burned down house. So not quite sure what is in that, but it's just a reminder of a sanctuary for him. His whisper of doom is cistern of old prayers, and there's been a rumor of an old cistern where the choir's song is the weakest. So I might, maybe several sessions in, I'll role play that a bit. I'm going to try to stick to just the core exploration rules to start and see how it goes. And then finally, in his former life, he was outcast. He was excommunicated, and he trusts no one. So let's jump in. I am going to find the procedures and try to follow those procedures. So we're going to start. This is the first time I am setting out with my character. I have a little gray map here. My settlement is in the middle, and then I've got my buddy Thomas Aquinas. So let's roll. And we're going to roll on generating a new point of interest here. All right, so I'm going to make this just a little bigger so you can maybe see it easier as yeah, there we go. That seems to work pretty well. So the Fallen Aqueduct. So I wonder if I want to make sure. Yeah, maybe that's a natural feature. I don't know. I'm going to have to find this. It's a section of a massive Roman aqueduct that's collapsed, creating a maze of rubble and shadowed archways. So I think that might have rolled. I actually want to, I'm already pausing, but I want to pull this up and make sure that it is pulling up the right table, generating a map. So let's look Silent Mill. So what is it that I'm finding again? The Fallen. Okay, there it is. Awesome. So it's a ruined landmark. So I won't do that again, but let's go ahead and put that on the map. So that is a landmark, and we're going to connect those two. So I am going to see. There we go. And we're going to make that a little bit bigger. So let's connect that with a line. And let's just do that. It doesn't have to look pretty. I don't need to spend a lot of time on that. I don't know why it's jumping down, but that's all right. It might just be, let's find what do I want to find? I just want to find a little terrain. I'm just going to add campaign asset, and we're going to call this we're going to call this the Fallen Aqueduct. So let's do that here. Add campaign asset, Fallen Aqueduct. And we're going to size that. It's at 2. We're going to add a picture. And let's just add an icon. We'll do an A for Aqueduct and call it a day. So let's move that over. And I'm going to put that there. And let's just leave it. Yeah, let's just leave it like that because I haven't got it in my book here what that means, so that's fine. So each time you enter a point in the map, whether or not you have visited before, roll a d10. So I think that is, I think when you first encounter, that's gonna be my first. Yeah, it's gonna be my first time moving that around. Can I just? I don't want the drawing tool. There we go. So I'm gonna move my guy here. So a day is split into 4 turns. Travel from one point to another. So I think I will show. I'm gonna move this over here for a second. These are my turns. I think I did that as a turn tracker. Yeah. Oh no, that is for Taint. This is my turn tracker, and I think that should start at 4. Yeah. All right. So we'll say that by exploring, he has done his first turn. So that brings it down to a 3. And we have to roll a d10. A 1 to a 5 means you encountered something. So let's do that. Let's see if we have an encounter right off the gate. And let's roll a d10. I don't have a d10. Here we go. There's a d10. 6. So there's not an encounter. So that might be good right away just to start. So now I have 4 turns, but I've used 1 because I traveled. So I've done that. Hunted, forage, make an average intelligence tech check. I might just go in order this time just to kind of get the feel for this. So we'll say we started out in the morning. So travel one point to another. That's probably like midday. And then let's do the hunt and forage. So I need to pass an average intelligence check. So we're going to my intelligence. So I have a +0. So let's open the dynamic target numbers. So my modifier is 0. It's an average of 11. So I need to get a straight up 11. Do I have any other? I've got a feat of healer. I've got resilient, ignore first 2 injuries per battle, hardy on endurance checks. Yep, I don't have anything that's going to help this. So I just need to get an 11 or higher. Let's do this. Six. So I was not successful. So that is going to be my second turn. All right, so now I've got, does it show me? Yeah, I have two turns left. So it's probably, I think I'll do one more. I'll gather rumors and then I'll rest. And so let's gather rumors by making an average pre-check. Success nets you 2 rumors. Failure still gets you 1, which is nice. So an average pre-check. Let's check our pre. I think it's going to be the same presence as 10. So 0. I don't have anything else that helps me there. So it's going to be an 11. So let's do that. Come on, 11. 13. All right, so I wonder how you gather rumors. I guess I'll say on the travel, maybe I met some folks and I had some discussions, but either way, I did net 2 rumors, and I will add that to my rumor. So I have 2. Once you get 10, you can trigger, I forget exactly what it's called. I think an incursion. So, but that is another, so that's my 3rd action for the day. So now I'm going to rest. And when I rest, that means I will sleep and recover. So I do that to avoid getting the fatigue condition. And when I do that, I need to eat a ration. So he kind of sits by the fire and pulls up his rations of, maybe some dried meats, and maybe he's lucky and has some cheeses. So let's tick that off, and that is the currency in this game. So the currency is rations, which I think is down at the bottom here. Rations. You start with 30. Actually, I might have screwed that up. because I think I used all my rations thinking that was the, yeah, I think I need to at least, I'm going to take off one of these. I'm going to make sure I didn't use all my, I know I'm doing this in real time, but I just realized that I better, I better go out with some rations. So, okay. So that's down to 9 for now. And hopefully I can start hunting and foraging and getting some more food. So, all right. So that is going to be the first day. So I you could role play, and you know what? All right. So I went ahead and input another PDF called Random Realities, and Alex T actually did a great job putting a bunch of oracles in here, and I just didn't load them in the game. So I might, if I decide to use any, I'm going to use this book called Random Realities by Cesar Capical, which I really like. So, but for now, we're just gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna reset the tracker here, and we're just gonna keep moving for now. We're gonna keep exploring. So let's go ahead and we'll just kind of keep going down. There we go. Draw this down, and it always takes one. So let's roll and see what we get here. So we're just going to say, let's make a little notes here. Foraged for food, but slim pickings. Did gather a couple rumors from some random individuals on the road, and had a good evening's rest. So we're going to say day 2. All right, so we're going to look. Yeah, we're going to look for our new point of interest, and that will take us one, but that's all right. What's our new point of interest here? A fork in the road. I remember reading that, so I'm going to have to look that one up. But I think it's just exactly what it says. I think it's a fork in the road. So let's find this. And we're going to find fork in the road. Should be in here. It might be a natural feature. Let's just look. Fork in the road. So instead of a point, generate 2 paths, each leading to their own point on the map. Okay, great. So I think why isn't it letting me? It's not letting me. There we go. Click out of this, maybe here. There we go. All right. So we have 2 points on the map. So we're going to branch this off here and here. I know this map is crude, and we're going to, I guess we'll say that we have to, it doesn't really tell you how to play this, but I'm going to go ahead and say that we have to go to the location to find out what it is. So we'll go to one fork here. Let's get off the drawing tool. Let's select Thomas, and he's going to go right first. So let's see what is at this fork in the road. So we're going to have to do a couple of more points of interest, but we'll start with one. The Lord's Manor, a nobleman's manor burned to a husk. Only the stone foundation and a tall soot-stained chimney remain. All right, so the Lord's Manor. So let's add an asset, the Lord's Manor. We're just going to make these a little bit smaller, and we don't need to make it unique. going to add a little token just to give it a little bit of a description. And I'm going to drag that down here. All right, so he is over there, but now we need to roll. So first what we'll do is we'll say that that did use one of our turns. Okay, so we're at 3 of 4 turns. Go back to our procedures. I'll probably learn this as I go and I'll remember this. So we did travel point A to point B. So I am there. We are going to roll for whether or not we get an encounter. Okay, so let's do that. So 1 to 5, you get an encounter. So I might make a simple little table for that in the future, but for now, let's just keep going. We'll just roll a d10. A 2, so we do have an encounter. So let's see what that means. Encounter on page 102. I bet there's an encounter in here. Attacking and defending, combat. Oh, I should have done the settlement phase last time. I should have done that. Yeah, because you start with, the way this works is you do your core, sorry, I know I'm flipping through here. You do the travel, but at the end of each day, I believe the next phase is the settlement phase. I'm gonna check on that quickly. So I'm gonna keep playing. The way I read the rules, it's when you get back from exploring. So I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up later if there's a certain number of locations you can visit before you're supposed to go back to your settlement. But for now, I'm just going to keep going. So we found this Lord's Manor, and when we did that, we did have an encounter. So let's see what the encounter is. Encounter. A survivors is the encounter. A survivor or group of survivors that might or may not be friendly. Roll on the survivors table. You can make a charm or diplomacy average check to gain 1 rumor. I definitely want to do that, but let's roll on their survivor tables. Table. So the knight on a fool's errand. A knight in battered armor rides a skeletal horse. So I'm in that kind of makes sense. I'm in this manor, and it's kind of a ruined manor, this old lord's manor, and the knight had come here. Maybe he thought that the manor was still active, but a knight in a battered armor rides a skeletal horse. He's on a quest sworn to a king who, as far as you know, is dead. He is polite, formal, and completely mad, but may see you as a worthy squire for a short time. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to try to gain a rumor from him. So let's try to do that. So I need an average charm or diplomacy pre-check. So let's look back at my character sheet. I think I'm taxing the memory here, so sometimes I have to close it and open it again. I think it's just taxing what a Sojourner can do. So let's see, I thought I might have do I have anything in here? Hardy, quick draw, precision, healer, resilient? No, nothing. So an average pre, so we've already done an average check a few times, so we know that's an 11. So let's go ahead and roll, see if I can get an 11. 15. So I tell him that I'm sure his cause is a worthy one, and I hope he finds his king. And as I do that, he proceeds to give me a rumor. So let's add that to our character sheet, and we're now up to 3 rumors. And again, you're looking for 10 before you can do an incursion. And so that was cool. So some better players than me would probably make some really cool role playing out of some of this. And I certainly could have. But for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. So at least there wasn't a fight, but I did. So far, all I've done is travel. And I'm going to say that's part of the travel. Like, I don't think that's going to cost me another check, but I am going to try to hunt and forage. So let's do that. So I need to roll an 11. I really would like to get some rations here. So let's see if I can do that. 9. Ugh, just not having any luck with foraging. It's tough. All right. So I'm going to try to gather a few more rumors. Maybe I'll see if he has more rumors, but I'm going to do one more check. So that for now gets me down to 2 things I can do, and then I'm going to have to sleep. So let's go ahead and try to gather some rumors again. We know that's an 11. 14. So 14, so that's 2 rumors. So I'm at least making headway on the rumor front. So that's great. So maybe we have some mead, we chat. I know he's completely bonkers, but at least he opens up to me a bit and gives me a couple more rumors. So we're halfway to our total for an incursion. So I think that's getting just a touch loud. So let me turn it down just a little bit. All right, that should be good. All right, so now we'll sleep. I don't think all it does is avoid the fatigue condition. I do need to eat a ration, so I need to make sure that I'm continuing to track my rations, and that could be a problem. I'm down to 8, so I guess that's part of when you know it's time to go back to your settlement, is to make sure you have enough rations to make it back, I suppose. Yeah, so let's go back. And so I think what he's going to do for now, he's going to go the other way. He's going to go back to the fork in the road, and let's see what generated this other section here. And yeah, I think that just takes me one more. So we're going to do it, not one more. It takes me essentially 1 action, I think it's called. So I'm going to say day 3. I might clean these up later in my journal, but it's kind of nice to have all this right here. So day 3, so we're going to do our point of interest again. Orphanage. So is there anything else that comes with that, or it just says orphanage? That's going to be interesting. I might see if I know I have to see if there's an encounter, but if there's not, I might ask the Oracle something about that. So let's look up the orphanage and see if is there anything else that says anything about the orphanage. It's a point of interest. Oh, that there is something more there, I think. That is 67. So let's look that one up. Is it 67 or 65? 65. All right, so let's read this a bit. So, a large 2-story building that was once an orphanage. The sign above the door is swinging on one hinge. I can just hear it creaking, kind of, it's long ago it lost the second hinge, but it's just swinging above the door. Toys lie abandoned in the overgrown yard. The windows are dark and empty, and an eerie, absolute silence surrounds the place. I'm going to see if I can copy that and put it in my journal. So let's go back to my journal, because I would like to. Good. I might clean this up just a bit so it doesn't look horrible. All right, so that's good to know. Layout and progression. The ground floor consists of a common room and a kitchen. Second floor is a dormitory and headmaster's office. Wow. The main reward is in a locked safe in the office. Encountered the hazard. The children are still here. They were transformed by the choir into something horrible. Small, fast-moving penitents who sing a discordant nursery rhyme. Oh, I can hear this weird nursery rhyme. They hide under beds and in closets, attacking with surprising ferocity. The headmistress's ghost, a non-hostile but terrifying specter, haunts her office, replaying the moment the choir arrived. Witnessing this forces an average will check to avoid D4 anguish. Okay. So let's play with this for a little bit. So the children are here. So they do attack. So let's look up penitence. I know I'm supposed to roll for an encounter, but we're going to say for now, at least, this is the encounter. So let me find penitence. And let's look them up in our bestiary here. Penitent. All right, so I'm going to move this over here just for a second. So they're human who have embraced the choir's power and truth, but they're ghosts, right? I don't know what they are. Are they real? And how many? Number one, I think that means one per character. And since I have one, I think that means I'll encounter one. So let's set this up. I'm going to go ahead and for now at least say this is an encounter of one. So I am going to maybe put this up over here so you can still see it. And I am going to, sorry, it's going to take me just a second. And if I take too long, I'll try to stop, but I'm going to pull up a grid. And for now, I'm going to hide this. I'm going to move this back to combat because we will need this. And what else? I do need to make sure I pull up the token. So let's move this over. And we're going to find the penitent. The only way I can do this is hover over, but it won't take too long. So there we go. I'm going to move this here. So we've got a penitent. And I thought I had little counters in here. What other counters do I need? I know I need exploration map. I feel like I pulled up incursion grid. That's right. Enemy injuries. Okay, I'll need this. I think what I'll do, and I'll get better with this next time. But for now, what if I can make this, I meant to go the opposite way. So let's move this up a bit. And let's move this down here. Yeah. Let's see if this, how about that? Something like that. So let's see if this is an average, easy, or hard. I believe that, let's go back to I'm going to bring Thomas Acquaintance in here too. And I can make them smaller. They're children, that's fine. But let's look again at combat. Okay. Determine the encounter's difficulty by rolling on the table. So let's do that. Let's find the difficulty. And children lash out at me from closets, under beds, and other hiding places. All right, so let me see if I can find, I think it's the encounter difficulty is what it would be. Enemy difficulty, let's roll on that. So average, okay, the enemy difficulty is average. So that should mean no change for now. That's good. So let's go back. So that's good. Determine if one of the two sides surprised. I think there's a chance that they surprise me, but I'm going to make this a little bit easier on myself, saying no surprise. PC's roll initiative, and then it's against their initiative. So their initiative is a static 10, which is actually pretty good. But let's pull up my initiative. And so my initiative, I might bring this over here. for now, I'll move it back. So my initiative is a total of 4. And I think I've already included in here resilient. I have to remember that I ignore the first 2 minor injuries per battle, I believe. So, okay, I think that's it. So I have a +4 to initiative. So let's roll. So we're going to do a d20. Let's go ahead and add the 4. Let's see what we get. 13 + 4, 17. Okay, so I rolled a 17 against his 10, so I win initiative. That's great. So that's a good start. It's a really good start. So even though these things surprised me, I was ready. I was prepared. Oh, and you do that every round, though. I have to remember that. Determine if there are any terrain features by rolling on the table. That's right. So we do the terrain features next. So we'll do that. And terrain features. Ah, shoot. Let's get rid of that one. What I'm trying to do is decide if there is any terrain. Natural feature, maybe? Shoot. I'm going to have to find that in the rule book. I have it in encounters here, I think. Somewhere. I thought I did. Maybe not. Encounters. Well, let's see. I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, so I found the section I was looking for, and the table was number of unique terrain features, so we're going to pull that up. And I did have that loaded, but let's see what this says. 4. So there are 4 terrain features. So I have the core rulebook up here too, to make sure we can go through and follow this since it's my first combat. So refer to the combat grid, roll a d5 to select a row. For the combat. Okay, so that is, so now I need to determine the 4 unique terrain features. So let's do each of those. We'll say terrain feature. So we're going to start with 1. So corrosive pool, and I do have little tokens for these. We'll go 2, cursed idol. If you reroll the same result twice, so we don't want to roll the same result. Impassable terrain. And what's the last one? Necrotic mist. So those are all new, or they're all different. So I'm going to roll a d5. Well, 10 divided by 2, rounding up to select a row, and then another d5 to select a column. Oh, I wonder maybe I could have rolled the same type of terrain features. I bet I could have. All right, so let's do this. So it goes row first and then column. And then I think, did it say? It said row first and then column. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, we'll roll our d10. So roll for the row, 5, and roll for the column. So a 5. So that's going to be a 3 and a 4. Because you're rounding up. Yeah, so that's going to be a 3 and a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be 4E. So let's find, we'll do the first one, which is a corrosive pool. So I've got a token for that. Actually, I think I need to, let's make sure I go over. So 3 and a 5. So that's going to go here. And so I have a little description, so that's great. So let's look at the next one. Let's do our rolling and make sure we don't roll the same. Don't have a D5, so we're going to roll D10 again. So that's a 4 and 4 and a 1, 4 and a 2. I think I screwed up the last one. That's all right. We'll go 4 and a 2. 4 and a 2. So 4 and a 2. Math is hard. I'm just kidding. 4 and a 2. So that was Cursed Idol. 4 and a 2. Put that there. Probably should have put that as an I, but that's okay. And then the last, or no, there's 2 more. So let's find my dice roller. So that's a 1, so round up is a 1. And let's see, and a 1, 1 and a 1. So that's interesting. So we'll go 1, 1, AA, and that is a Necrotic Mist. 1, 1. Necrotic Mist, 1, 1. And then finally, do 1 more. So that's a 10, so that's a 5. And a 2. 5 and a 2. 5 and a 2 for Necrotic Mist. Oh, I should have done Impassable Terrain. That's okay. We'll do the Necrotic or the Impassable Terrain down here. No problem. It is okay. All right. So all of those are done. Let's look back at our rules here, our procedures. All right, so we did that. If nobody's surprised, that's fine. Otherwise, roll D4 to determine each party's deployment sides. 1 north, 2 east, 3 south, 4 west. So D4 starting at the top, and combatants are placed on the first square road. Combatants are placed on the first square row of their side. Can I show up anywhere at the bottom? Like, do I have to be in the terrain? I don't know how that works. It's all right. Let's see if it even comes up first. So we'll roll a D4 for me first. D4 for me. Right? So this is for me. That's a 3, and this is for them, which is a 3. 3 and a 3. I think you can do that, right? So 1, 2, 3. So we're going to be at the bottom. So I'm first. So I think that means I will be here. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Edit token. We'll say 1.5. There we go. And then the penitent, I don't know if it says impassable terrain, maybe I'll put him on the next one. And I'll look at that later and see. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger, make us both the same. Can I edit that? All right. I don't know. Should we be next to each other though? Like, what does impassable terrain imply? Okay, a rock pit or some sort of flesh protuberance is here. So we're going to say it's some kind of pit. So you must move around it. So there's like a pit in the section we're in. So that's fine. It's not going to cause, I don't think at least, it shouldn't cause any problems with cover. All right, enemy creatures activate from bottom to top. So I already won the initiative. Determine the enemy's target. Well, obviously he's going to target me. There's only one person. So when a PC attacks, they must roll a d20 and modify by their strength or dex plus any relevant modifiers. The result is equal to or higher than the defense's rating. So sorry I'm reading this. I won't do this all the time. But we already decided we already know this is an average encounter. So we are going to be doing the average encounter here, and we'll tick these off if he gets injured. But we need to do 3 major injuries to take this thing down. So his DR is average. So that's at least, I think, good. Let's make sure this is down here so we don't forget. Yeah, we'll do that. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my character sheet for Thomas Aquinas. And Thomas, yeah, I'm going to have to check on that. I think it's a memory issue. But Thomas is going to use his longbow. So he's at least 1 square away. So I think that's fine. So his attack is a +2. And I'll tell you this time, I won't do that again. But he gets +2 for dex, +2 for precision strike for range. So that would be a 4. But he also rolled a drawback, which is clumsy. So he gets -2. So he has a +2. I just didn't want you to think I screwed that up. So he can do Battle Frenzy, which would add +2 to attack checks. But it would also give him a DR of -2. And my damage rating right now is a 3. Yeah, for now, I think I'm just gonna rely on that +2 attack bonus. So I've got a +2 attack bonus. This is average. So let's look at our dynamic target numbers. So he's average. I've got a +2, so I need to do a 12. But let's see what happens. So he's going to roll a d20 +2, and he's trying to target a 12. 19. Nice. A 20 would be a crit. So if I got a hit, now I need to look and see. So let's see what that means. If the result is equal to or higher than the defense rating, which it was, I've scored a hit and dealt a major injury. So I'm going to tick off a major injury here on the average encounter over there. And then I think, so let's just look at dealing injuries here down here. So I dealt a major injury. Injury consequences. This is what I'm looking for. When a creature suffers a major injury, which it did, they must mark it on the injury track, which I did. They're still alive. They must roll on the injury table corresponding to the type of injury they just received. So I just pulled out my longbow and pierced these children. I guess they're not ghosts. I don't know, but I pierced these children. It's got him like right in the neck, and it's a bunch of these children running around. But I got one that kind of sliced him right in the side of the neck. And he needs to, let's find that injury table. See if we can find, I think that would be a piercing injury effect. Strike to the, okay, it's not the neck, it's the leg. So the target is hindered for D6 rounds. So first, let's see how many rounds he's hindered. And I might just have to make a note of that. Maybe I'll do a counter, but we're going to say he's hindered for D6 rounds. So he's hindered for 3 rounds. Not bad. So let's see if I can open this. So I have these injuries, and I know I'm tracking it over here. Maybe in the future I'll change this, but I'm just going to do this as a round counter. So I'll do 3 rounds I'll just use that to track for now. That he's hindered. Let's look up hindered, just because it'd be fun, and I want to make sure I remember what that means. And if I look at hindered bestiary conditions, so let's pull up that card. I created these cards. They are available free on Alex's website. So I really enjoyed making these. So, okay, move reduced by 1. And when does it end? It ends when the effect, so basically 3 rounds. So it just reduces his move by 1. That's okay, though. It's still pretty good. All right, so that's my turn. So now let's go back. And I could have moved. I think, you know what? I can still move. So I wonder, I can move 2. So let's look at this again. Yeah, you can move, you can attack, and you can do an action. You just can't split up your move, is what I recall. So I'm just going to go with that. And these things are just kind of running around at me. I want to stay ranged. So I think for now, I'm going to stay away from these 2 terrain, and I'm going to move up 1, 2, and go up there and make, this is a cursed idol. I don't know what it I assume it'll affect them, but I honestly don't know. So let's see what they do. And he does have an injury. So let's see. Determine the enemy's turn. Yeah, so we know he's going to come after me. So let's roll on the table for it should be an enemy. It should be one major injury suffered. Yep, one major injury suffered. And we're going to roll on that to see what he does. Standard attack. So standard attack. So he has a zealous strike, range of 1, which I assume means he's got to be next to me. He's got a move of 2. Port action. So I wonder, I guess for now, I'm just going to assume he's going to move into range. I can role play this. I don't have to necessarily look up the rules. So let's just see, these children are coming out of everywhere. And I think I have them in my sight, and then some more come out. So, but he's going to move here, and I guess he'll move around. Oh, PCs within 1 square must pass an average will check at the start of their turn or attack the nearest creature. I guess that doesn't really affect me unless I really wanted to penalize myself. If I had multiple characters, then it would affect me. But I guess if I really want to penalize myself, I could say it attacks me. I attack myself, but I'm not going to do that. I want to get through 1 combat, so I'm going to move him up here. That's 1, 2, and then he's going to attack me with a standard attack, range 1, slashing damage. So his attack is average. So now let's look this up. Not core rulebook. It is, okay. So I'm defending. So I roll. Based on, okay, we've done that. Instead, the target rolls a d20. Yep, I roll that plus my DR and compares it to the attacker's attack value. So plus my DR. So let's look at that again. And here's my dynamic target number. So my character, my DR is 3. So I'm going to do a d20 plus 3. So if my DR is 3 and his is average, DR is 3, I need a 12 to defend against this. But I do get my d20 plus 3, 15. So I defend. So, but that is, so I needed a 12. I got a 15. So that's within 3. So let's look up that rule again. Rolling equal to or higher than the attacker's attack by a difference of 3 points or less, which it was, causes the PC to suffer 1 times minor injury. So I'm going to do this on my character, and I might, maybe in the future, I'll remember, I might change these little tokens here. But what I'm going to do is this is my effect. I have 1, I guess we'll do it to, yeah, minor injury. So what I'm going to do is show that I've used one of my, I think it's my feet. So let's open that up quickly. So I have what is called, let's make this a little bigger now. So I have resilient, ignore the first 2 minor injuries per battle. So for now, I was able to just shrug that off. Either I knocked it, I don't know, I knocked their arms away. I don't know what happened, but I was able to shrug that off, and I did not get that. But I have 1 more of those, and then I can't use it anymore for this battle. But that should be it. So now we're at the top of the round. I should be using, I do have a combat tracker in here, but for now, I think I'm just going to keep doing it the way I'm doing. So I'm going to say round 2 begins. And so I know that his initiative is a 10. So we need to go back and roll my initiative. And I haven't memorized my initiative yet. So my initiative is a 4. So let's roll. I need to get some hotkeys on this. We're going to roll this plus 4. So 16. So I win the initiative again, which is great. So now he is next to me. So I think that just affects the actual square they're in. So I think for now I can move. So I think I could move. I don't think there's any attack of opportunities. I'll have to look at that later. But I want to get away from him, and I think I need to be at least more than one away. I forget. I should know this, but I'm going to move here, and then fire at this mass of children. Sounds horrible. And let's do that. So I am going, we know it's an average check. So we will go through that again one more time. So it's an average check. I need to pull up my character sheet. So I get a +2. +2. So a 2. So if it's 0, an average check is 11. Yeah, so if it's 2, average check is 12. So I do get a +2. So let's roll a 20 plus 2. 15, 17. So 17 against a 12 is a 5. So that is definitely a major. I hope I did that right before. Did I call it? Oh yeah, if it's above, if it's lower than, then you do a minor injury. So that's definitely a major injury. So let's do that. And let's see what it says on the major injury table. So my arrow finds its mark. And then let's go back and say piercing injury effect. 2 for 1. The attacker deals 1 minor injury to a second target within 1 square radius from the original target. So I guess I'll role play that and say, this hits another one of the children. It's this mass of penitents that are coming at me, and it affects one of them, and it hits one of them square in the chest. But otherwise, it doesn't do anything else. So now it gets to attack. So I think it would just move. And again, I'll look at this later. I might be doing this wrong, but it's going to move up this mass of humanity, and it's going to attack me. So I need to roll a defense. And again, their attack is average. My defense rating, and I'll start remembering this maybe, is a 3. My defense rating is a 3. So again, I need a 12 or better. Do I get to roll +3? My defense rating is a 3. Now I want to read that again real quick. That music changed right at the right time. I love it. So let's see. The PC rolls target, plus their DR, so 3. So, all right. So I need I think we said a 12. Let's roll that dice, or die, D20 plus 3. A 2. So that's a major wound, because that was I needed a 12, and I only rolled a 2. So that is a major wound. So we're going to go back up to my character. And I cannot shake that off. So we are going to edit the token. So we actually do have a major injury right now. That's no bueno. So I have 1 major injury. I guess I could either count it up or down. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as 1 major injury right now, but I know I get 3. So I think I need to, and that is a slashing. Oh, shoot. Did I? You know what I was supposed to do? Yeah, I should have rolled for what their attack was going to be. But given I got excited with that. Let's leave it. And he does slashing damage. So I'm gonna take I'm gonna roll for me on the major injuries table. I think I need to do that. Let's make sure I need to do that. That's enemy injury, so maybe it's not. Let me read on this. Dealing injury. When a creature, it must mark it, and when a creature suffers, when an NPC. So I don't think. No, so I don't have to roll. I forget attrition. When a creature suffers a minor injury, they must mark it on their injury track. If they're still alive, they increase their attrition by +1. Ah. So how do I suffer attrition? When a creature suffers a minor injury, they must mark it. So I should have increased their attrition by 1. When an NPC suffers attrition, PC is attacking them between +1. When a PC is suffering attrition, their DR checks suffer -1 burden. Okay. I'm going to need to find a better way to track attrition, I think. So in this case, but that's only minor injuries, right? So far, neither one of us has minor injuries. Okay. Whew. Think I'm good then for now. So, all right, I got to remember next time. Yeah. All right. So I think that's the end of round 2. So we are going to say round 3 begins. I'll get better at this. So now we are going to roll, and we know our initiative is a 4. So let's roll our d20 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. His initiative's a 10, so he gets to go first. So he does go first. So we are going to look at, I think in this case, it's 2 or more major injuries. 2 or more major injuries. So let's see what he does. Standard attack? Okay. So standard attack. So he's going to do his normal attack. We both have just major injuries, so I need to roll. And I don't think for a major injury, it doesn't say anything about any other effect. I don't think. Creature. So when a creature suffers, when an NPC suffers attrition, yeah, it doesn't say consequences for a PC. Maybe a PC does suffer attrition. I'm going to look that one up after the game. But for major injury, I don't think anyone, and that's at the end after combat. So, all right. So let us roll, and we know I have a 3. So it needs to be a 12 is my target again. So we're going to do a d20 plus 3. Come on, 12. That's not good. So that is a 5. So that's a major injury, right? Holy smokes. I'm almost positive that's a major injury, right? Ugh. Rolling lower than the attacker's attack causes 1 times major injury. Whew. I'm tempted to go for broke now. So that is, okay, let's do that. Causes me a major injury. So I need to edit my token. So I have 2 major injuries, and my major injury track, I believe, is 3. If I pull up that character sheet, I do it here. Oh, I know I have 2. I get 4. Okay, but I've got 2 right now. Ugh. Do I mess around or do I invoke? Let's read this again. Battle Frenzy, +2 attack check. My DR is -2 for 5 rounds. I'm going for it. I mean, I need to get this thing. And he already did his move, so I'm going to move here. I'm going to do my battle frenzy. So that means my attack is now +4. I think that's right. So let's do our dice roller d20 +4. Oh my God. So I rolled a 7 and I needed to roll what, a 12? I feel like there's something. I'm gonna stand by for 1 second. All right, so I knew there was something. I'm going to dig deep and I'm gonna utter a minor prayer. And that minor prayer, I don't know if I have that as a card. I don't think I do. Maybe I'll create another one. Yeah, it's not. But a minor prayer allows me to re-roll any one check. So I'm gonna do that one more time. D20 +4 and hope that hits this time. 1822. So I take it down as I'm praying to whoever I'm I'm praying to right now. And with that, my arrow fires true, and this mass of penitents, children, just evaporate or explode, and they go down. Now I do have to take with that. I do have to add an anguish. So I am going to go from 0 to 1 anguish, and I'm going to have to look at that and see if there's anything on the table that I need to worry about. But let's do the after combat settlement here. I'm going to turn down that. I hope that wasn't too loud for you during the stream. Turn that down just a bit more. Okay. All right. So let's see what it says after the battle. After combat, all injuries are removed from the injury track. All of them? But I did take 2. But what does healing do then? Oh, you can ignore the minor injuries suffered, but I have a major, so I can't. So I removed both of those, but I do take 2 trauma. So my trauma is, where is my trauma? Probably staring right at it. Move trauma here. 2. So I have 2 trauma. So I'm going to check trauma on page 61 and anguish to make sure I don't have any effects. So let's do that. Trauma, aftermath of a fight. So let's look at this. If the character was injured during the fight, the risk of infection is high. You must immediately take an average healing check to treat wounds, which are also required spending 1 times medical supplies. I don't have them. I don't have any minor, so that's fine. Okay, so that doesn't come into play. Again, your total trauma is recorded. So I only have 2, so there's no consequence, but I will start getting a consequence if I get another trauma. So I want to look at, I feel like there's anguish. Trying to see if there's anything on the anguish table. I think there is. Go back to the top. Let's go back up to the top and then look at anguish. 47. Okay, here we go. That's humanity. Anguish check. Each time you gain 1 or more points of anguish, you must immediately make an anguish check. Roll a d20. Compare the result to your new total anguish score. If the d20 is less than or equal to your anguish, your will breaks. You must immediately roll on the breakdown table. So that what I did was not probably the smartest, because if I roll a 1, I break. Oh my God. Whew. Okay. So I shouldn't be so flippant in doing that. That's good to know. So, okay. So I might be able to lose my anguish later. I'll have to look at that and read about that. But let's see, is there anything? So I get 3 XP. So let's do 3 at the top here. And I don't know if there's any loot roll in the looting table. So, okay, I do get a loot, it looks like. So let's find the loot table. And looting table. All right, so let me go back here. And I'm going to roll on the loot table if I can find it. Flint and steel. I want to look that up. It's probably something that's just a gear, but let's look that up. Flint and steel. I'm going to find the gear. If I can find it. Flint and steel. There it is. Doesn't really say what, does it? Flint. I assume maybe to light a fire, flint and steel. It's the only thing that would make sense to me, I think. But it is lightweight, but I do think it costs a gear. So I'm going to put it in here. Flint and steel. All right. So I think that's everything for that. I can get rid of this so it's ready next time. And I've saved this. And that was, I can get rid of this. So I probably don't need these anymore. I don't know if I can. I think I'm just going to get rid of these. Just so this is kind of ready next time. Delete token. Delete token. Just kind of cleaning this up so I have this ready next time. All right, so that's the combat grid. Now my exploration map. So was that at the Lord's Manor? No, that was at the orphanage, right? Isn't that where I found that? The orphanage? Yes. So let's go ahead and put the orphanage on here. So campaign assets, I'm going to say orphanage. That was a fun little encounter there. I enjoyed that. That was a little, I think that's a 2 I did. So we'll find O for orphanage. And pull that down here. And what else do I need to say? So is that, I think I went there. So that was the second. Did I look at the second location? I might have to look at that again after, and if I need to retcon that, or not retcon, but if I need to go back and make sure I know how many turns I have, I can. So I'm going to save this. And I think that's it for now. I'll call that. Yeah, it went just about an hour. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. I'll try to learn to do a little more better role playing because I think I had some really good opportunities there. But let me know what you think. And maybe next time I'll throw my camera on. I don't know why I didn't do that this time, but really enjoyed it. Choir of Flesh. Please drop a comment or a like if you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks, everyone.